This question is a perfect example of in our Triple T math document, Tom's testing tips, where we say don't look at the answer options right away, they'll only confuse you. However, it can be useful to look at the answer format. Looking at the answer format here will let us know that it's very likely, at least a 50% chance, that we won't get integer answers. We may get these kinds of values that are irrational. And normally that means you have to do the quadratic formula. And you can see on page 34, so side 3 of our math reference document, we have that listed here. And it's good to know for your math class. However, we want to figure out the most efficient way to do this. So I'm going to avoid factoring altogether because I can tell that it's possible this won't work out. So I'm going to go ahead to Desmos. And I'm just going to go ahead and type this in. So if I do x squared plus 9x minus 20, if I leave it like that, then I could just find the x-intercepts by looking for the points where y is exactly 0. It can be a little bit tricky, which is why it's nicer to just put equals 0, and then it comes up with the answers as vertical lines. So you have x equals this value, negative 10 point whatever, and then x equals this value. So process of elimination will let us know that we can go ahead and eliminate A and B, since we're not going to get integer answers here. And between C and D, let's look at what makes them different. Now, it wouldn't be advantageous to go ahead and type this value in because they both have that. Now, it's almost hard to see at first, but it looks like the only difference is this has 61, this has 161. Same thing here, 61 versus 161. So let's think about what we've done so far as it relates to the Triple T document. So we use the answer format to help us out to know that probably factoring by hand isn't really going to be a great option. So we went ahead and did something on Desmos. We found those x-intercepts. And once we were certain that they were not integer answers, we eliminated those two options of A and B. Now for the remaining two options, what makes them different from each other? Well, it's this 61 versus 161. So let's type one of these. Let's say I type this one in. So negative 9 halves. I like to use the / key, which is to the right of the period key on your keyboard. I'll go right to make sure I don't keep typing in the denominator. Minus. Now, I can go ahead and do this fraction by pressing X, by typing SQRT, that does a square root. Or I could go down to the keyboard and then choose the square root down here. And then I'll type in 61. I'll make sure I go to the right to get out of it, and then I'll do the / again, and then the 2. So does that match with one of my solutions? No. So let me change it to 161. Oh, look at that, that matches. Now, at this point, we know the answer is D, so no need to continue and type in these other solutions, and we could just leave it at that. The correct answer is D.